It's fabulous. Woo! Okay. I just have to say that, first of all, that was just, and she wrote all those words. Yeah. Just amazing. But I have to tell you this, because I just have to tell you this. And if it's you, I mean no disrespect, but someone last week, I don't remember who it was, said to me that we should do just a little more spiritual music. And as Donia started, I went, oh my God, the very next week we do a rap tune. So, yeah. So we will have more spiritual music coming your way. But to me, all music is spiritual, just to be clear. But I also love, when we sing I'm Diving In, I mean, that to me is like the epitome of spiritual food. So anyway, I have a great Chinese proverb to start our little talk off today with. You ready for it? Sure. Man who waits for roast duck to fly into mouth must wait for a very, very long time. Eric, I love that you're sitting there trying to figure that out. Eric Bork's like... So let's look at this. Man who waits for roast duck. Now, first wait for roast duck to fly into mouth. Now, first of all, if you are going to wait for even a live duck to fly into your mouth, you're probably going to spend a lot of your life waiting, yes? So that's very smart. But if you're going to wait for a roast duck to fly into your mouth, now you've made it even harder for yourself. So I think this is a brilliant way to start my talk today. I think you get the point, yes? Okay, so it's time to stop waiting. And the song was, now that we've found love, what are we gonna do with it? So this whole month is you're born to love. Love is an energy. Love is the creative Love is lice. Love is the creative life force of the universe. It's who I am. It's what I am. I can't stop the love that I am. Love is not something we go after. Love is not something we acquire. Love is required for me to live because it's what I am. When I breathe, I am breathing in love. When I exhale, I am exhaling love. When I say hello, I am loving. I'm receiving love. I'm giving love. That's just who and what we are, right? So with that in mind, now that we found love, what are we going to do with it? Once you know who you are, once you really get it, that you are the very essence of love, moving, breathing, living in this universal life force, the next thing is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? What are you going to do? Now, Mark helped set this up perfectly because I loved his story that he heard that love only, took it as a challenge, decided to try the challenge, and then realized, oh my goodness, this is who I am. This is really who I am. Not easy sometimes to live love only. I know there are people and places and things and challenges in life that really cause love only to be the second, third, fourth, or 38th thought you have. I have a sign on my wall that says, God is speaking no matter who's talking. Not always easy to remember when certain people are talking. So love is the energy of life. It's active, it is creative, it is emergent, and it is continuous. Emergent, meaning love is always coming forth from you. You can't have anything else. No matter what's coming through, it's love. What you do with it is what changes the way it's received. Do y'all get that? So it doesn't matter how high you aim or how low you aim. It's still love. It's just that level of experiencing or living love. And we get to decide which level we want to live at. So, this center came together as one center from two. So when you ask, now that we've found love, what are we going to do with it? One of the things that your board of trustees has been discussing, and we will certainly discuss this at our general membership meeting today, is, all right, now that we've found love, what are we going to do with it? Now that these two have come together as one and have grown and expanded and have shown a way for us to celebrate spirituality, what are we going to do with that? Where are we going to take that? How are we going to make this even a bigger presence in the world? How are we going to help more people do what Mark did and say, I'm going to decide to live from love only, no matter what's going on in my life? So that's where we are right now. That's the precipice that Global Truth Center Los Angeles stands on. So Ernest Holmes said this: the mind must conceive before the creative energy can produce. The mind must conceive before the creative energy can produce. We must supply the avenue through which it can work. You, me, all of us. We have to supply an avenue for which this amazing love, this energy, this creative life force can work. And that avenue is the way you use your mind. It's how you're thinking. It's you making a decision to live a certain direction, to live a certain way, to take your life where you want to take it. You are not being dragged through this world by the circumstances of your life, dragging you into experiences you don't want. If you find yourself in experiences you don't want or like, then somewhere along the line, you have conceived an idea that has brought you here. That's not such great news. No one likes that. It's why this philosophy is still working to get a great, bigger audience, because a lot of people want to take responsibility for where they are. But you all do. Because what you know is, when I take responsibility for where I am, that means I can take responsibility for where I choose to go next. And I'm not going to be subject to anything outside of myself dragging me anywhere I don't want to go. So that's what this is all about. And that's what he's saying. You must conceive of where you want to be in order for this creative energy to follow your guide. He goes on to say, it is ready and willing. This energy, this love, this life force is ready and willing to listen to you. Now, how many of you in this room have just been dying for someone in your life to just listen to you? For those of you who couldn't see, that was my husband who raised his hand. And daughter. There's something inside of you, Kevin, that is listening to you. There is something inside of each and every one of us that listens to what we're saying. And not just what we're saying, not what we're giving lip service to, that listens to your true, deepest, most intentional beliefs. It is listening, it is hearing, and it is acting perfectly. It is ready, willing, and able to do and to accomplish whatever you decide for it to accomplish. This is what we teach. This is the basis. This is the heart and soul of what we teach. It says it is its nature to spring into being through our thought and action. It's its nature. You have something inside of you that's listening to you and can't even make its own mind up. You know that, right? The law can't say, oh, Diane Brabant, bad idea. Let's not do that. Stephen may say that, but nobody else. The law is saying, all right, you want that? Let's go. Let's do it. The law is going to say yes, no matter what you tell it to do. But the law is also going to be saying like, yes, if inside of you, you're saying, I want to do this. And then there's a bigger voice saying, that's scary. Let's not do that. Which one's the law going to follow? It's going to follow the tendency of your thought. The tendency of your thought. You can walk around your whole life saying, God is all there is. My life is perfect. My life is perfect. But if inside of you, it's really, I'm too afraid to do anything. Let's really play it safe. The law is listening to that. The law doesn't listen to the affirmations we willy-nilly throw into the air and don't believe. The law is listening to what you believe, what you really believe, which means you gotta know who you are and what you think and what you believe. You have to do a really good research into your mind and say, what do I really believe here? I love teaching practitioner class, especially when we get to the part of practitioner class where the students are learning how to hear the subtext. What's really underneath what I'm saying? You know, as actors, it's only interesting if actors are acting from subtext, not from the text. Similar to affirmations and beliefs. If an actor's just reading the words, you're pretty much bored by that actor. You don't feel a lot. If the actor's coming from subtext, they could read the phone book and you'd be like, oh, what is he saying? That's why they say Meryl Streep could read the phone book and make it interesting. I'm sure she could, because there's a plethora of understanding underneath whatever she's doing. That's your mind. The universal mechanism that is your belief system is listening to what you mean, not what you say. So, today's talk is all about taking action. The name of the talk is Now What? And that's really where we are. Now what? Now what for this center? And now what for your life? We're like counting down to the end of this year. You know, we get to the end of the year, we start making all these proclamations about, you know what, 2018 is going to be, and I'm here to tell you, 2018 is going to be 2017 repeated. If you don't make a different choice, if you don't decide for something else. Now, I don't mean all of your, New Year's resolutions, I'm going to decide to lose weight this year. No, that's not what you say. You usually say, I'm going to lose weight this year. Actually, if you said, I have decided to lose weight this year, no matter what, it would inform what you pick up next to put into your mouth, I would hope. So here are the lyrics that Donia wrote. She says, stretch your mind a sec, lay down your worries, and reap that loving paycheck. Love that line. Stretch your mind a sec, lay down your worries, and reap that loving paycheck. So the first thing I want to disabuse you of today is your worries. Anybody have any worries? Okay, so what if you were to lay those down? What if you were to truly lay those down? What if you were to understand that as love, as God, what could you possibly have to worry about? What if you started to understand that your attachment to your worries was a purely manufactured thing that we have made up in order to keep us from our highest and best? Worry does nothing other than create more things to worry about. I love my family. When I grew up, I come from an Irish Catholic family, and my grandmother used to say to all of us, if you're not worrying about this, you're not doing anything to help it. And I grew up with that belief system. I used to think, oh my God, I'm worried. Things are working out. No, I'm worried, so there's more to worry about. So stretch your mind into allowing your mind to get rid of the worry, get rid of the doubt. Because if you really do know who you are, how could you worry? And if you really believed that your mind was listening to you, as Ernest Holmes says, if you really believe that there is a subjective mental creation inside of you that is constantly listening and acting, how could you put worry in there? Would you really want to put worry in there? Say, oh, let me feed it some worry, see what that does for it. No, you wouldn't. So it's also about how much do you believe that your mind's creating your experience? How intently do you believe this teaching, this philosophy? How much do you believe that it is done unto you as you believe? So that's the first thing. Let's get rid of worry. And then she says, love is good and plenty when you play it like a fiddle. Hello. But if you don't use it, it's heavy in the middle. Right? So love is good and plenty if you play it like a fiddle, but if you don't use it, it's heavy in the middle. So love, this creative energy that you are, you have to be willing to use. You have to be willing to play like an instrument. An instrument, I have a guitar that sits in my office that I rarely pick up, and I always think how pretty it is. But it does nothing sitting in my office other than looking pretty. I sit in my office, I also look pretty. But I do things. I get up, I'm on the computer, I counsel, I do a lot of things in the office. So there's a difference between me and my guitar. Now, if I were to pick up the guitar and play it as beautifully as I know how to play it, then that guitar would suddenly be being used in such a way that I was taking what it does naturally and putting it into the universe. That's your objective. To take what you have, this instrument of knowing, this instrument of doing, this instrument that is ready to take what you give it and put it out into the universe, to take it, bring it in as who you are, and start using it on purpose to create the music. She also says, I got one more thing to say. Love is not something for which you should pay. When I heard that, when you sent me your lyrics and I'm reading that, I was like, made me think of a few different things. But what I really landed on and what really, really resonated with me is that I think we spend way too much time thinking we have to pay for what we want. I think we're in way too much of a mercantile, if that's the right word, existence, where we feel that I must pay to have this. I must pay to do this. Now, there is the mental equivalent, of course. But there's also what you innately are. It's who you are. That creative energy, that love, that essence. All the success in the world is yours without you having to pay for it. All the health in the world is yours without you having to pay for it. Everything that you want is already yours without you having to pay for it. You just have to know that that's who you are. This is who I am. If you were to walk around knowing that you are pure prosperity, pure success, nothing would look like a failure. Nothing would look like lack because it wouldn't be there. So we have to get out of this concept that we are paying for all of this, that somehow we have to do something. No, we have to be something, actually, not do something. So Abraham Lincoln wrote this: things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle. I don't have to say a thing about that. It makes sense, doesn't it? Go back to the Chinese proverb. If you're going to spend your life waiting for a roast duck to fly into your mouth, you're going to end up on your deathbed saying, never tasted it, never landed. And I know that's not what any of us want. So the great philosopher Napoleon Hill said this: I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. And here and now, I promise to render such action. Now, I want you to hear the definiteness of this man's mind, a very successful man, especially when it came to finances. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. That's number one. Do you? Do you know? Absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that you have the ability to achieve whatever you desire to achieve. That's number one. Number two, I therefore demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment. So number one is, I know I am capable of creating whatever life I want. Number two, I insist and demand that I live up to what that is. And I continue to act upon with that which is mine to act upon. And then, and I here and now promise to render such action. So I want you to notice that he says, I here and now. He doesn't say, and tomorrow, I'm going to do it. Next week, I'm going to do it. In 2018, I'm going to make this happen. There's a wonderful passage in the Science of Mind textbook where Ernest Holmes talks about continuously putting our good in the future. Why do you think practitioners end every treatment with, and so it is? Not, and so it's going to be as soon as I get to it. If a practitioner says that to you, A, don't pay them, and B, find another one. Right? And so it is, right here, right now. So I have a challenge for you today, and it's this. Who here today is ready to promise here and now, that action will rule your life? Meaning that you will know who you are to such a degree that you will insist, you will demand that you act at that level and that you bring your life forward. So who wants to do that? Who wants to say, here and now, right now, I'm going to know who I am, and I'm going to decide to act from that place? Great. So you know, I love that you put up 2 hands, Alfie. In with, what is that? In with marbles and chalk? What is that?
Money, marbles, and chalk.
Money, marbles, and chalk. How many of you know that reference? None of us, so forget it. It just means you're full in. So there's your opportunity. You've got so many days left in this year, 2017. Just so you know, 2017's theme for the entire year for the Global 2 Center, no, that means for you, really from September or March when I got here, but can you believe it's not even been a year. I feel like I've lived here for the last 20 years, in a good way. I feel like I never left this stage. No, this whole idea, our theme for Global 2 Center, the whole idea of this year was step it up. Step it up. Up meaning unlimited potential. So that has sat on my desk. It has been pretty much, tattooed into my heart this year to step it up. Well, we really have stepped it up. And I think you'll love what the theme for 2018 is. But when you give your mind an action, what are those things we do in the board things now? Action. No, an action item. When we go to our board meetings on Monday, I hear all the action items, the things we are now taking action on. Because you know what? How many of you have been part of organizations? Everybody talks about what needs to be done. Right? Here's what we should do. We should do this. We should do this. We should do this. Let's do this. Okay, good. And then you walk away, and the next month you come back. Was any of that done? No. Okay, we should do it. No. Action items. That's why they're called action items. Because once you say yes, you must take the action to actually make it show up. And the action for you is the action of mind. Deciding to be willing to hear, to listen, to understand what is mine to do next, and then stepping into it. So I invite everyone here today to really think about these 3 things. 1, that it is very, very true that you have within you, bless you, that powerful tool called subjective mind, the law of life that is listening to what you desire. And know it. Number 2, be willing to act upon it. And then here's the big one. Number 3, be willing to accept that as your life. Not someone else's life, not the way Ernest Holmes talked about it, but as your life. I know who I am, I live from who I am, and I accept all that is mine to accept. I guarantee you, you start getting your mind in that loop, and your life is going to change dramatically. And I don't mean change from out of the blue. I mean change from within. You are going to change the way you live your life. You're going to change the way life shows up. And you're going to change the way you get to live in this amazing world where everything is possible. Who knows? You might end up actually allowing a roasted duck to fly into your mouth, digest it, and say, what an amazing meal I have had. Namaste.